Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining me today because we have some very exciting General Hospital news to talk about, and it's definitely worth the wait. Well, folks, let me tell you straight up, I've been following General Hospital for decades, and this latest news about Steve Burton has me all stirred up in the best way. When they announced Jason Morgan was leaving back in March, I felt downright disappointed. Steve Burton made that character feel like a real person. Strong, loyal, always there when Port Charles needed him. A lot of us longtime fans were unhappy. We'd watched Jason through so many ups and downs that it hurt to see him go. Some folks even said they were done with the show for good. Bless their hearts. I understood exactly how they felt. But here's the good part that's got me smiling again. Steve Burton is already back on the set. Turns out his time away wasn't as long as we thought. We heard he stepped back because his wife is expecting a baby and he wanted to be home taking care of her and the kids. That's the kind of man I admire, family first, always. I did the same thing myself when our grandbabies came along. Now, the real exciting rumor making the rounds is this. The producers might bring Steve back, but not as Jason. They could be giving him a whole different role. Can you imagine? When I first read that, I nearly dropped my coffee cup. Some fans are hopping mad about it. They feel the show is pushing out the people we love without good reason, and a few have sworn they won't watch anymore. I saw one lady write that she's been a fan since the old days and this just feels wrong. Still, I listened to Steve on his podcast, That's Awesome, with his buddy Bradford Anderson. He talked about it like any regular guy would, honest and straightforward. He said the show reached out and invited him back, and he'll start filming again in June. He didn't spill every secret, of course, but you could tell something interesting is coming. A bunch of us on social media are wondering if this early return isn't even Jason at all. Maybe it's a brand new character or a big surprise twist. Steve hasn't said a word about it yet, so it feels like they're keeping a good secret for now. I've been turning it over in my mind while I sit on the porch, and I keep thinking how these soap operas always find a way to pull us back in with fresh stories. After all these years, I still believe that's what makes General Hospital special. It's like real life people come and go, things change, but the heart of the town keeps beating. I'm sticking around to see what Steve brings us next. Whatever new role they give him, I bet he'll make us care just as much. If you've been watching as long as I have, I'd love to hear what you think. These characters feel like old friends, and sharing the stories makes it even better. Well, this whole business with Steve Burton heading back to Port Charles so quickly has me sitting here on the porch, turning it over in my mind like a puzzle I just can't set down. I've been watching General Hospital for more years than I can count. Through good times and bad. And one thing I've learned is that when somebody shows up this fast after everything that went down, you start wondering if things are really what they seem. Is this truly Jason Morgan walking back into town, or could there be somebody else wearing his face? The question isn't crazy at all, not one bit. You know how it is with those WSB folks. Every time they send somebody into Port Charles, there's a mighty good chance the person isn't who they claim to be. Disguises, secret missions, fake identities, that's their bread and butter. It keeps the story rolling and keeps us fans guessing for weeks on end. And let me tell you, it wasn't that long ago, just about 10 years back, that the writers already pulled this same trick with a fake Jason Morgan. We all sat there week after week wondering who in the world this guy really was. So sure, you could argue it feels a little soon to trot out another imposter. But then again, these soap operas have never been shy about bringing back a twist that worked before, especially if it gets everybody talking around the water cooler. What really makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up is how Steve's character just up and confessed to shooting Agent Cullum. That's no small thing. In real life, you don't just walk away from something like that and head home like it's any ordinary Tuesday. Yet here they are in the story, turning him loose and letting him stroll right back into Port Charles as a free man. It doesn't sit right with me, not one little bit. I keep asking myself why they do that so quick. Maybe the real Jason is still off somewhere else, and the fellow they're sending back is working for the WSB on some undercover job. Could be they want him right there, keeping tabs on that other mess, you know, the fake Nathan West that Ryan Pavey played a while back. Imagine that, a fake Jason watching a fake Nathan. Now that would be a double dose of Port Charles style trickery, wouldn't it? The kind that makes you lean forward in your chair and say, well, I'll be darned. I've been mulling this over while I'm out watering the flowers or fixing a loose board on the fence. Part of me is just plain tickled pink that Steve Burton is coming back in June, The man has been part of that show for so long, he feels like family. Jason Morgan has been through more heartbreak, more secrets, and more wild adventures than most folks see in a lifetime. And Steve always played him with that quiet strength that made you root for him even when things looked hopeless. I miss seeing that steady presence on my screen every week. It's like having an old friend drop by after a long absence. But another part of me, the part that's watched too many of these storylines unfold, can't shake the feeling that something's not quite adding up. Why the rush? Why, right after that big confession, it makes a fellow wonder if the writers are cooking up a whopper of a reveal that's going to hit us like a ton of bricks down the road. I've seen plenty of fans online feeling the same tug of war in their hearts. Some are just over the moon happy to have Jason back, no questions asked. They say the show needs him. The town of Port Charles feels empty without him. And they don't care one whit how he gets there as long as he shows up. God bless him, I understand that excitement. But others, like me, are sitting back with one eyebrow raised, sipping our coffee slow, and wondering what kind of game is really being played behind the scenes. Is this the real Jason Morgan we've known and loved all these years? Or are we about to meet another fellow stepping into those big shoes for a spell? I reckon we'll all find out soon enough once the cameras start rolling again. These stories have a way of unfolding nice and slow at first, then hitting you with a surprise that makes you slap your knee and laugh out loud. One thing I know for certain after all these decades of watching, nothing in Port Charles is ever simple or straightforward. There's always another layer to the onion, another secret tucked away, another person who might not be exactly who they say they are. That's what keeps the show alive and keeps me coming back, even on the days when it frustrates me to no end. I just hope whatever they've got planned turns out to be a story worth every minute we spend watching. Whether it's the real Jason or somebody new pretending to be him, I know Steve Burton will bring that same heart and grit he always does. Well, Steve Burton and his old buddy Bradford Anderson, who plays that lovable Spinelli, just dropped a brand new episode of their podcast, That's Awesome. And let me tell you, it got me smiling from the first minute. Those two sit down and talk like regular fellows, no fancy stuff, just honest chatter about the show and life in general. In this latest one, Steve came right out and said it plain and clear. He told everybody he's coming back to General Hospital. Yeah, I'm coming back to the show, he said. I start in June, so I'll definitely be back. The way he said it, you could hear the excitement in his voice, like a man who's ready to get back to work and see what trouble Jason Morgan is going to stir up next. Now, I've been around long enough to know how these soap operas run their schedule. They film about 3 weeks ahead of what we see on TV, which gives them a little breathing room to tweak stories and fix things if they need to. But every year, just like clockwork, General Hospital takes a break in July and fills the time with old episodes. That means Steve starting to film in June doesn't automatically mean we'll see Jason walk back into Port Charles right away. The timing's got to line up just right with the filming and the break. Either way, I'll be right there in my favorite chair when it airs, ready to see how it all shakes out. These characters have kept me company through a lot of life's ups and downs, and I sure don't plan on missing whatever comes next. God bless, and happy watching, y'all. There's always another chapter waiting,